excited for this opportunity. You know, growing up in Humboldt, Iowa, I'll tell you a little bit about my history, but having season tickets to Cyclone football games when I was a kid, when this opportunity came up, my radar went way up. So I want to start, first off, I want to give 3 quick thank yous. The first one, Jamie alluded to, is Virginia Tech. The rankings came out yesterday, and I chose to take another job and leave the 4th ranked team in the nation at the end of the dual meet season. A program that I built with Coach Roby and the people of Virginia Tech started almost 11 years ago. So that was a tough one. That was really a tough one. So I know there's Virginia Tech fans and Virginia Tech people watching right now, and I just thank you for the opportunity. I mentioned it in a statement that I put out, but it was just a really, really hard bunch of people to leave, and I hope that we'll be friends, and I'll have a lot of friends there forever. I truly mean it when I'll say I'll be a Hokie forever. There'll always be a part of me to be a Hokie, but timing-wise, this is obviously what I wanted to do. The second group that I want to thank is obviously I want to thank my family over here. And if you look at all the kids sitting here, you'd think that I have a lot of kids, but I've got a couple nieces and nephews over there. So my wife and my kids, this was a leap of faith on their part, and they're still leaping a little bit. We're leaping back and forth, so we don't exactly know where everybody's going to live right away yet. But they have been super impressed since the plane landed. My son, who's 14 years old, when he heard the head football coach from Iowa State, no offense, Jamie, but when he heard the head football coach was coming to our house, he was pretty pumped, Coach Campbell, I'm telling you that, all right? So, and my brother, Dan, lives in Ankeny, and his 2 kids are over there as well, Reese and Riley. So we've got a lot of dressers over here to the right now, and obviously I got to thank them for their support through this. And then third and not last, but the amount of passion and the amount of, I don't even say it's salesmanship, that Jamie Pollard has provided me since that very first meeting or that very first phone call is most impressive. I know Iowa's a wrestling state, and I know the media here, you guys can be brutal at times, so remember, we're still on our honeymoon, okay? But I know he's caught some grief over the years for being a dedicated man to Coach Jackson, who I think the world of. And so him having the patience and the diligence, and maybe not as much patience as each one of us wanted, to see this through the right way was very impressive to me. And just the amount of detail he's taken with my family, more so than me, because it's easy to really chum up to the new coach or the new hire, but what he's done with my family is super impressive. So that's my thank yous. So you might wonder why Iowa State. Well, I told you. I really fell in love with the sport of wrestling as a youth wrestler in Humboldt, Iowa, but then at the age of about 8, 9, 10 years old, my father and my neighbor, who was our middle school wrestling coach, and various people in our community, we got tickets to Iowa State matches. And so we parked in Hilton Coliseum, and it was still there back then, even as old as I am. And I can remember walking across, parking a long ways away, and I was surprised at how far we had to walk just to get to a wrestling match, and then going in there and watching guys like Chris Taylor wrestle, and some of those guys, Dale Barr wrestle, and so I'm dating myself and going way back. So just my knowledge of Iowa State wrestling. I remember being a junior in high school and seeing Kelly Ward win a national championship on the floor at Hilton Coliseum. And I was a junior in high school, and that was a huge motivator to me. It motivated me. I can remember from that point on wanting, I remember, I'm dating myself again, but ABC Wide World of Sports, there wasn't even ESPN then, but I remember ABC Wide World of Sports interviewing Kelly Ward, and I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I said, that's so cool. And so my memories of Hilton Coliseum are incredible, and that's a YISU for sure. The second thing is obviously the vision that I heard from Jamie Pollard and some of the other folks, and the direction and some of the things that we're going to put in place. moving forward right away. You know, the ability to do a Cyclone Regional Training Center, some things that right now that are on the cutting edge, or maybe not even the cutting edge of wrestling, to compete with the big schools, the best schools. So the vision. And obviously, thirdly and lastly, it's a chance to come home. My mother lives part of the time. She in Arizona, retired, but she lives in Ankeny at least half the year. So a chance to, you know, I left for Virginia in 1988. That's a long time ago. So to get back to be around my family a little bit, and luckily Jamie paid me enough money so I can go back and forth to Virginia a lot and keep my other side of my family happy. So it's a win-win, and that's the three reasons why I chose ISU. As a coach, you got short-term goals and you got long-term goals. So I'm going to get that. When I pull out my glasses, you all know I'm serious, right? My short-term goals, I'm doing everything in threes today. Number one, I'm excited to get in front of this team. I'm excited to get in front of, I'm going to see a couple of our signees, incoming recruits this weekend. I want them, and I think they do, but I want them to understand the history of Iowa State wrestling just like I kind of explained it. I want them to understand the history here and the fact that we want to be great, and great means that we win titles. We win titles as individuals, we win titles as teams. The second thing, short-term goals, is and we're going to get right on this tonight from what I understand in Ankeny, but it's very important to get the fan base and the alumni involved. Very important. So if you're watching and you're alumni, we need you to get out. All right, I'm going to deputize all of you because we can't do this alone. I didn't do at Virginia Tech, I didn't do it alone. I was at 2 previous high schools, I didn't do it alone. It took a lot of people. And so we need the Cyclone Nation. The fact that I recognize the strength of the Cyclone Nation 25, 30 years ago popped back into my head. And I know we've got to get everybody on board. We've got to get people in Hilton, even when we're not going to be very good maybe right away. Who knows? But we need people filling up Hilton Coliseum. We need people going to the NCAA tournament. We need people joining the booster clubs. We need people involved. So that's the second thing my short-term goal is. And third is, this is my disclaimer here, so when you all start getting mad at me and things don't go the right way, is we have to understand patience a little bit. Division I wrestling is a different game than it was 12 and 13 years ago. The advent of the regional training centers potentially makes the haves and the have-nots get bigger. And so we have to understand the culture, and we have to understand that we've got to put systems in place that allow us to compete with the Penn States, the Iowas, and Oklahoma States of the world. That's going to take a little bit of time. And that's kind of a save my butt clause too. So if we get beaten a couple dual meets we're not supposed to get beaten, you got to give me a little love in that respect. My mother, who's probably watching, and my wife, when I put the word patience with me, it doesn't really work or fit. So I'm going to have to read my notes probably every couple months. But I ask you that as well. Lastly, my long-term goals, 3 of them again. I'm in threes. I work in threes today. Coaches were simple. I can't get past 3 much. But we obviously want to graduate great young men every year. I always say my job's simple. My job is to graduate great young men and to develop national champions. And so we've got to graduate great young men every year. Academics are important. If you're going to come to Virginia Tech and you're a recruit out there, academics are important. Most of you, if you're listening to me, your careers are going to be over 23 years old. So that degree is important. It's very important. Secondly, we want to develop NCAA championship individuals. We want to win team titles, and we want to provide world and Olympic opportunities for those that want to do that. That's the benefit of putting in a Cyclone Regional Training Center. So we want to be a one-stop shop in terms of wrestling. We want guys, we want the best. We're not only going to recruit the best wrestlers in the nation, we want to recruit some of the best postgraduates in the nation and make Ames, Iowa their home to train. So when they go to the World Championships or they go to international events, they can have that Cyclone stamp on them somewhere. I think it's great advertising. And then lastly, long-term goals, I think I can say this because the newspapers already wrote about it, is it's okay to say we want to beat Iowa, isn't it? All right? I think there's nothing wrong with that for two reasons. Number one, it's fun, all right? It's a lot of fun. And number two, it's a benchmark. I mean, let's face it, Iowa's pretty darn good, and I don't see them getting any worse. So if we're competing at that level, we're in the hunt. And I know everybody wants to kind of stir up the Brands dresser a pot, and I think everybody's done that pretty well. If you heard me last year about this time, I got a little crazy on the internet and went a little nuts and said some things I probably shouldn't have said, but I'm kind of one of those guys that calls it like I see it. But I can tell you I respect the heck out of Tom and Terry Brands. I know their work ethic, I know their toughness, I know what they're selling there. So when you know what the competition's doing, you just got to get ready for it. So the opportunity to compete with Iowa and to pack Hilton Coliseum when we've got black and gold and we've got cardinal and gold is exciting to me. And that's got to happen fast. I'm going to throw the word patience out there, right? That's got to happen fast. So in closing, obviously I'll open up for questions, but you know, I speak to a lot of groups in the summer, working camps, and I speak to my team and my Virginia Tech team. If they're listening, they can, this will be familiar with them, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be great. And that's one thing we have to really buy into as a team here, that it's okay to want to be great and publicly say that you want to be great. And I want to be great. I want to have a great program at Iowa State. And saying it's the easy part and doing it's the difficult part. So we've said it, now we got to do it. And that starts here real soon. It is a goal or a vision of mine to pack Hilton Coliseum. I'm already back at Virginia Tech, I'm sorry. Hilton Coliseum on a regular basis. So I hope you share my vision. I'm excited to be here. I'll be as accessible as I can. They let me out of meetings, right? I'll be as accessible as I can. But I just want to thank Jamie for the opportunity, and I need y'all, okay? That's a Southern term, y'all. I need y'all, all right? Thank you.
How was this one of those jobs that was kind of always in the back of your mind as one you'd like to come back to in time?
I would have, there's probably only 2, maybe 3 jobs in the nation that I would have left Virginia Tech, because Virginia Tech's so daggone special. Only 2 or 3, and obviously this was one of them. And this is just, I mean, I went and toured the facilities this morning, and I'm like, wow, right there's my recruiting pitch for anybody that's in high school that might want to come to Virginia Tech. I mean, at Iowa State. I don't think I can get in trouble for that. I'll ask Ed Bannock if there's a violation there, but I think I can say the facilities are wow, and the commitment and everything I've seen is just super impressive.
Coach, can you outline what you can do or will do between now and the NCAA tournament?
I will be obviously recruiting a lot, traveling to some, a lot of state tournaments are going to be going on the next couple of weeks. So obviously I'm excited to get a chance to talk to the team. They've got they got a job to do with the Big 12s and the NCAAs. I'm not going to step on toes there. They've got relationships built with athletes, so I think the worst thing I can do is come in and try to confuse or try to get people doing different things right now. So I'm just going to mostly be recruiting and definitely reaching out and doing some alumni relations. Tonight we're going to be at what's it called, the district in Ankeny. So we're going to have a social for all you Iowa State people that want to start signing up for this new thing.
How do you continue to build the brand so you can win the recruiting battle for the in-state best wrestlers?
I like to talk, so I think we got a shot. I don't know. I think we got a shot.
Can you explain or outline anything with the regional training center and what you have in mind?
We just want to bring the best postgraduate guys we can in here to train in Ames, and that's a simple formula. We've got to be able to afford them, and it's somewhat of an arms race anymore, but we need to have the best guys in here training so they get the benefit of our athletes and we get the benefit of them, and Ames, Iowa gets the reputation of being a not Colorado Springs, but maybe the next best place to shop or train.
when you took over at Tech, they were coming off a 1-win dual season, same situation here. Are those situations comparable in your view, or how do you view maybe what that situation was like versus what you're walking into here?
That situation was much different, much more difficult. The previous administration took all the guys, wink, wink. The current coaching staff here has put together 2 unbelievable recruiting classes, so I'm blessed in that respect, and that's hats off to the Paulsons and Angel and Coach Jackson, because they've obviously know how to recruit, and it just shows you the power of recruiting, you know, to Iowa State, because they've had a little tough time a little bit every now and then, and they're still bringing in quality guys, so it says a lot about the character and the you know, the ability of them to sell this place.
Do you have any idea how your staff is going to take shape?
Staff-wise, I'm not going to make any moves, do anything until after the NCAA tournament. Obviously, I've got some people in mind, and I think you're going to see probably with college wrestling this year, it seems like it's a little bit cyclical, but there's going to be some jobs opening up from what I hear, and so it'll be the musical chairs for a while. So we'll see when the music stops and what seats are available and who's not sitting. And so I know that's running around the answer. That was my intent.
You mentioned the recruits and not leaving the cupboard bare. I mean, you got guys like Kanan Stewart, Ian Parker in the wrestling room right now. How exciting is that to have a good foundation?
Darn exciting. Really exciting. I've obviously watched those guys, especially, in the last 10 or 11 days more so, when this was going to maybe be a reality. So, you know, it's pretty exciting to see some of the young guys. And I got a chance to meet with some of the coaches this morning, and they're obviously really high in some of the names that you mentioned.
Do you have a timetable on the regional training center and kind of what you're looking for then?
Tomorrow, yeah. We're going to start getting after it here soon. We got to do it the right way and get a 501c3 put together and all sorts of stuff like that. But I'm going to get going on that as soon as we can.
I talked to Dan Gable yesterday, and he said one of your biggest strengths was being kind of like a company CEO, and Jamie mentioned that too, just during his opening statement. What do you think your best strength is, your biggest strength is as a coach? Is it being that CEO type, or what do you see as from yourself? Well,
I'm too old to wrestle anymore, so you can throw that one out the window. I just think I've really made good choices by surrounding myself with good people. I think if that's one thing and so if that's CEO-ish, then that's probably what it is. But I've always, when I was first a young coach, I kind of tried to do everything myself, everything. And as I've gotten older, I've realized the importance of hiring good people and people that are better than you in areas. And so, the people that I'm going to hire for the jobs that I need are going to be better than me. I can tell you that. And so I think that's been something I learned somewhere along the way that's important.
What's the pitch to the kids that have asked out of their letters of intent from this current recruiting class? I've been on the phone the last couple nights with I think all 7 of them, and 5 are rock solid Cyclones, I think. One's probably on the fence, and I'm going to try to go push him off the fence in a couple days. And then there's one more that we're probably not going to have, and I don't know if I should mention any names right now, but so that's pretty good. So, 5/6 out of 7.
Kind of 2-part question. Before the courting process, what was your impression of Iowa State's dedication to the wrestling program? And then after the pitch, what was your impression?
We wrestled out here 4 or 5 years ago, and the facility was really nice. And then they just recently, in the last couple of years, updated the facilities in terms of locker rooms and their wrestling rooms. Beautiful facilities. Is probably, from where I've been, one of the top 3 facilities in the nation. We wrestle just about everywhere. I believe that. So I obviously didn't pay much attention to it. I didn't even know Iowa State was on the horizon. So after Jamie and his crew flew out to Virginia, I kind of did a little more research on the internet and saw just how nice they were.
Coach, how important was the job and its site where we are today in Ames, Iowa, and its proximity to your mother, to Humboldt, and where you grew up?
Very, very important. Like I said, I've only taken a couple jobs, and there's obviously some good jobs in the country, but just because of where this sits, it obviously intrigued me right away. It just getting back here and being around my brother and being around his family. We haven't got to do that much, and so my kids, they get kind of a 1-year grace period to transition in here, and I know that once they get here, they'll be excited, but I do appreciate them. This is a leap of faith in their part, and Jamie did a really good job in hooking him up with a lot of swag on the airplane ride here yesterday, so he's working it. So together, we might get them all here sooner than later.
You were a successful prep coach, and then you've had a lot of success recruiting in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Do you plan to keep that as a major recruiting territory?
Absolutely. You know, I think just, you know, obviously it's further away mileage-wise and as the crow flies, but one of the best things I had going into being a college coach was, as I always say, I spent 18 years in high school hospitality rooms. And high school wrestling coaches like to eat a lot, so you build a lot of relationships over those 18 years. So I spent a lot of time around high school coaches. So I really have a pretty good network of high school coaches in Pennsylvania and Ohio, New Jersey, and those are great wrestling states. So I'm excited to get those kids out here looking.
How much do you have to try to sell Iowa State wrestling to fans again?
I don't think so, with the tradition of everything here right now, and hopefully we got a little bit of a buzz going. I think that this place is dynamite. I mean, I just know the tradition and the history. I mean, I've watched Iowa State wrestling since 1970, pretty dang regularly, even when I was a Hawkeye. You never take your eye off the enemy, and that was the enemy back then. And there was a guy that used to wrestle here named Joe Gibbons that was pretty good, that used to beat me up pretty regularly, so I was always well aware of Iowa State.
Do we have any more questions for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks for